Morning, everybody. Morning. Sorry to break up the conversations. We get down to the formal bit. So I'm Richard Barnett, Managing Partner at Howard Worths. And on behalf of the partners and senior team that are here this morning, can I welcome you to our annual budget and finance update. And it's certainly doesn't seem 8 months since we were actually last here, when we were entertained by Justin Urquhart Stewart, who shared his thoughts on Brexit and the economy. Time just seems to have flown by since then, and looking back, it was only shortly after that budget breakfast that on the 29th of March that Theresa May formally served the Article 50 to start the negotiation period of our exit from the EU. And so much seems to have happened during that period, and much obviously still needs to be done over the coming 15 months as we prepare for Brexit. Currently, we don't have a date. No later than 29th of March 2019, or later if member states agree on that. Will there be a transitional period? Will we have access to the single market? And if so, in what form will that take? Uncertainty is the enemy of investment, as many businesses wait and see what the future might hold. Those businesses that are at the top of the game, strong balance sheets and know their costs, will continue to invest and take advantage of some of the opportunities that will come forward in the times ahead. But many others we know are taking a wait and watch approach to things. But each of those businesses needs our help, support and guidance over the coming months and years. So the lawyers, bankers, land agents and others amongst us here today, we look forward to working with you over the coming months on that. Now, I don't know about you, but there's times when in my job and in life I reflect on decisions I've made, and sometimes I wonder if I've made the right call. And I'm sure everyone here will have times when they go through that same thought process. Sometimes we know we've just got it wrong. Maybe we've misjudged or misread something, or circumstances have changed. Now, for us, on most occasions, we can just simply adjust the line of travel within which we're taking. Sometimes we might wake up in the morning and realise it was just a bad dream and everything's okay. But for others, though, the decisions are analysed and scrutinised, often with the benefit of hindsight by those who wish to comment and criticise. And some people's the decisions are played out in front of national media for 24 hours a day. And it was during that walking holiday in Snowdonia that our Prime Minister decided that she would call the general election, which she announced on the 18th of April. And with some degree of certainty or hope on the outcome, that was the polls in the few weeks or months running up to the election. So not an unreasonable decision for her to make. And the strong and stable message seemed destined to give our Prime Minister the authority to negotiate with the backing of her party. But then, as the polls closed on the 8th of June, David Dimbleby announced the result of the BBC exit poll. Theresa May shed a tear, and by the next morning, the results was known: a hung Parliament. Perhaps it was all a nightmare, and somebody would wake up the next morning and it would be a bad dream. But even Mr. Trump couldn't help out on this one. So now Theresa May negotiates with Michel Barnier of the EU and her backbenchers have more influence than perhaps she would like, and she's open to a lot more criticism than perhaps she envisaged. Our Chancellor has, I think, limited room for manoeuvre, concerns over growth, productivity and inflation, and a need to regain the support of the younger voters that turned against the Conservative Party this year. His budget focused on two areas, technology and property, which we'll pick up on this morning. Our three speakers that we've got lined up for you this morning are Katrina Walker-Jones, Suzanne Preston and Tim Lewin. Katrina is one of our team of financial advisors, and she's going to be looking back at the stock markets across the world in the period since the referendum, as well as sharing some of the team's thoughts on investment strategies for ongoing advice, given what's happened within the markets over the last 18 months or so. Suzanne Preston is our farming and rural business partner, and she'll be picking up on the issue of making tax digital and the tax issues around land developments. And Tim Lewin, our tax partner, will be sharing some of his team's work on research and development tax credits and the opportunities that him and his team are able to spot. I just say legal practices take note when Tim goes through that. R&D tax credits does go a lot further than you might think. What we plan to do is have each of the three speakers give their presentation, and then at the conclusion of those presentations we'll have time for some questions and answers and discussion. So, ladies and gentlemen, can I introduce our first speaker, Katrina Walker-Jones.
Thank you, Richard. Good morning. I'm speaking on behalf of the Wealth Management team. So our budget, we thought, was a non-budget for us, which wasn't unexpected with Brexit, with the interest rate rises and the anticipated inflation. So there hasn't really been any changes to the capital gains, which we've welcomed. No changes to ISAs, although we would like to have seen that gone up a little bit, and no changes to pension tax relief.